Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to Korean Atlanta Mentorship. And in this video, we're going to cover the concept of how to help broke doctors. So believe it or not, according to the internet, and I don't know this for sure because I'm not a doctor, there's a good number of broke doctors, right? And so despite high earnings, a lot of people face high student debt, other expenses, right? They might live in a very nice neighborhood that they could afford theoretically if they didn't have those other expenses, but because they have other ongoing expenses like their student loan debt and maybe possibly credit card debt, they're struggling financially, right? So if we take a look here, why doctors go broke. So there's a good amount of media coverage about doctors going broke. This one's from Medicine, from Reddit 12 years ago. Oh my goodness. I am broke, Doctors UK. Um, 3 years, still making about, what is this one? I think I clicked it. 350, 500 year, in debt up to my eyeballs, still need suggestions. So this person's a broke resident. It has 3 years from making 350 to $500,000 a year. So again, this is a little bit different because we haven't graduated med school yet. But let's just assume that we make about $175,000 a year, and we have $9,000 in expenses, $9,800 in expenses, and we only had $185 left in savings, right? Like if you only had $185,000 left in savings and you made 10 grand a month, wouldn't you freak out? I'd like totally freak out. And the reason that I know this is possible because a lot of you email me your budgets unsolicited, and I see like 6 grand, 7 grand, 10 grand a month. I've seen even as high as 11 grand a month, still broke, right? And are trying to get a way out of it. So this is 175 grand gross a year. That translates to 10 grand net. And now what we're going to do is just use velocity banking to help manage our finances. So what is velocity banking? All it is a financial strategy to be able to pay off debts quickly using lines of credit as your main tool. Okay, so we need two things. So first things is we need a budget. So we already have that. And what's important in our budget is we have every single debt that we listed, because the more debt that we pay off, the more cash flow we get, and then that's more like a snowball to the next debt, and it'll pay off quicker and quicker, right? So one of the things we're going to assume is that we have the same income, and although making more income is great, let's just assume that we're not going to make any more just to kind of see what we can do with our current existing income. Now, if I go here and have zero savings, people will freak out. It's like, why do zero savings? You got to have 3 to 6 months of savings. Here's the thing with velocity banking, while we're paying off debt, our savings is essentially our line of credit, right? That's going to be our main tool to pay off or have savings in case we need it because of emergencies. But most of our money should be geared toward paying off debt. And the actual strategy is you're going to put your entire paycheck into a line of credit, take your expenses out, and then rinse and repeat the process over and over again. I'll show you how that works. Okay. So what we can do here is we have a mortgage of $200,000, and we can possibly get a home equity line of credit depending on how much home equity you have. And here's the thing: if you're a doctor, think about this. We only have $185 left in savings a month. I hear it's very common for doctors to get like $600,000 homes. So, if we had a $600,000 home, we'd be like so over broke, right? Like we couldn't even like uh, we'd be bankrupt in like 3 months, right? So even at the $200,000 mortgage level, like we're still struggling, which is learn to make a little bit of sacrifice. Like if you have good shelter, there are a lot of neighborhoods where the homes are 200, $300,000 and still good neighborhoods, right? The value of a home isn't necessarily tied to a good neighborhood, because if that were true, then San Francisco, given the amount of crime and poop and needles that they have on the streets, the homes there wouldn't be worth like $1 million, right? Value of a home has nothing to do with necessarily how good the neighborhood is. Okay, so let's go ahead and readjust our finances to increase what we call cash flow. And so let's go ahead and copy these expenses, and our cash flow is going to be our income minus our expenses. Okay, and so what we're going to do is transfer these three credit cards. So if you add this up, it's $86,000 of debt, right? So let's just do a simple debt transfer from here to our home equity line of credit. So we're borrowing. It's kind of like a credit card based on the value of our home. Okay, so we're borrowing more money and just doing a simple debt transfer. And guess what? So let's move all these credit cards. So 0, 0, 0, right? And now look, just doing by one simple debt transfer, we went from $185 in savings to $3,000 in cash flow. Isn't that crazy? Now, here's the thing. If we just had our home equity line of credit and just essentially decided to um, not use it as our main operating account, the beauty of the velocity banking strategy is this. When you put your entire paycheck into your line of credit, you're using it as your main operating account. Okay. And what happens is two things. You satisfy the minimum monthly payment, so this monthly payment doesn't really matter, right? Um, and you minimize the interest because you're putting the balance at its lowest because of the way that the average daily balance calculation or interest calculated, which is by the average daily balance. Okay, so now let's go ahead and put in some formulas here. Okay, so think about this: you put in 10 grand, you take out 6,900, and then your balance should go down about $3,000 plus the interest. Okay, so now let's go ahead and do this. So I2 plus 1, right? And this one is G2 plus H2 minus your cash flow, which is 3035.32. So 3035.32. Now, there's nothing in here, right? Because on the we call it month zero, interest hasn't accumulated yet until the first month. So this is going to be blank for now, but going from month one, we're definitely going to include the interest, and we're going to show you how you calculate that, or a way easy estimated a way to calculate that. So let's go ahead and do that. So the way that you calculate the interest is by getting the average daily balance. So average here, do this, right? Then multiply it by the interest rate. So in home equity lines of credit, usually the interest rate is about 10%. It will vary, like it's not fixed, right? But usually, in my experience, it's around 10%, and then divided by 12, right? Because again, anytime they give you the APR and then they're calculating the interest monthly, you got to divide by 12, okay, to get an estimate of the monthly interest. Now, what we do is now we just kind of copy and paste the formulas until we see a lot of red. Okay, so what we do is just keep copying these formulas until it's completely paid off. And so you see at month 32, we have $830 left and $19 of interest. And then by the time we're at month 33, this is completely paid off. So let's go ahead and highlight this. And what we're going to do is just write some milestones, right? So milestones here. So milestone, and we paid off $86,000 of debt in 33 months. Okay, $86,000 of debt in 33 months. Yes. Okay. Excellent. Excellent. So we've definitely done that. And now, um, okay, so give me 1 second. And now we got to figure out which debts we're going to pay off next. So as a med student, maybe we have a huge loan, $225,000 in loans. Insane, right? Like, is it worth it to be a doctor if you're going to have a $225,000 med student loan and only make 175? Now, depending on what specialization profession you get into, you might be making huge money because look at this guy. 3 to 5 years as a resident physician after graduating with subspecialties, you might be making $350,000 to $500,000 a year, right? So it depends on your situation, but you could see that this person has a lot of debt, right? A lot of debt. I don't know how much. Maybe I got to sum it up, and I don't think velocity banking at this income level is going to help until we get to that 350, 500 level, because this person's making only $64,000 a year, which is, it's kind of sad that like med school itself is like a big hazing ritual. I would argue, which is why I would never go. But now we got to figure out. Okay, well, we could pay the student loan, auto loan, or the mortgage, right? And so which one do we focus on? And again, we want to put our paycheck into one place so that's easy to pay off our debts. And there's debt criteria that we can use here. So there's the traditional debt criteria to say, hey, look for the lowest balance, highest interest rate, and the highest payment and focus on paying off that debt, right? Right? And so we could just say, hey, this one's the lowest balance, but this one's the highest interest rate, and this one's the highest payment. I'm not sure if I want to focus on that. student loan first before the auto, right? Another way that you could figure out which one to pay off is by what we call the cash flow index number. So we'll call it cash flow index. And if you don't know what that is, that's just a formula where the statement balance is divided simply by the monthly payment. And it's going to give you a number for that, right? So let's figure out what the current statement balance is. So let's go to like a loan calculator. So calculator.net. Oh, wait, let me put in loan amortization. Loan amortization. Okay. So what we can do is figure out what the loan balances are at this point. So, again, $200,000 at 6%, right, for 30 years, because it's going to be a 30-year mortgage at month 33, right, 33 months right here, 33, 33, 33, and then 192, right? So let's go ahead and put that here. So now the balance of this is 192. And then auto loan, 40,000 at 3%, 40000 at 3%. And auto loans are usually 5 years, right? And here's the thing. If you take a look here, the interest isn't that bad because, again, low interest rate and low length of the loan term. And if you have a relatively low a loan term, the thing gets paid off pretty quickly. All right, so now let's go ahead and go to number 33, so which is 18 grand. Let's copy and paste this. And then let's look for the student loan. So 225,000 at 10 years, and the interest rate is 6.5%. Okay. I totally forgot student loans were 10 years when I was doing these before. And I had to actually go into like Sally Mae, or I forget what they call it now, Navient, and figure out, oh, my interest rate was like 4.5 and the length term was 10 years. I didn't know that because I paid it off early, right? So I like, when Biden talks about student loan forgiveness, is like, yeah, been there, done that. I don't need it forgiven. I paid it off, right? All right, so 225, 6.5% at 33 months. 176K, right? So 176K. Okay. All right. So now we're going to calculate the cash flow index. So all it is the statement balance 176,865.34 divided by the monthly payment 2,554.83. And then I'm going to show you what this means. So 18743.08 divided by 718.75, and then equals 192,875.83 divided by a 1191.1. So you can see I'm dividing these numbers divided by or using these numbers and then dividing by these numbers. Okay. And so what this means, you could think of it as a ranking system. This lowest number, so it's like you want to pay it off in from lowest to highest. And all this means is that if it's below 50, it's quote an inefficient loan, meaning if you pay it off early, you get a good amount of cash flow. So think about this. If I pay off this $18,000, even though it's a 3% interest rate, I get $700 back, right? Compared to, let's say I pay off this $192,000, I only get 1,200 back. So would you pay off 18,000 to get 700 back, or almost 200,000 to get 1,200 back, right? So that's what this ratio means essentially. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pay off this 18 grand into the line of credit and get that $718 back in cash flow. So let's go ahead and do it right here, and then do plus, and then okay. And so now we did that. And what's our new cash flow? Our new cash flow is, this is 3754.07. Excellent. So let's go ahead and get that number, 3754.07. 3754.07. Now we got to do this, 3754.07, and then okay. So now this is going to take us about 38 months to pay off. All right, so 38 months. And how much did we pay off? So we paid off 86 plus 40 is, I think, 126. So that'll be 38 months. Okay. Now the next one that we're going to tackle is going to be this one right here, the student loan. So again, we have a 69 cash flow index versus the 161. So this one, if we pay it off, we get a little bit more bang for our buck. Now, here's the thing: if you ever deal with a lower interest rate loan compared to higher interest rate credit, and you have a huge balance, you just want to do something called chunking, which is just paying it off in little increments, like whatever is your salary, because at this point you'll have enough cash flow to offset the whatever's the interest accrued in the line of credit. And what you want to do is that we're trying to prevent something called the segregation of income, right? We want to park our money in one place. And I know it sounds kind of stupid. I have another video on it, but putting your one of the reasons why a lot of people are broke, right, is that when your money comes in, your money is split all over the place, and that's why you're living paycheck to paycheck because of lack of cash flow. Okay, but when you're able to put your money in one place and do it so effectively, you're not gonna. We're trying to prevent the segregation of income. Hopefully that makes sense. If it doesn't, I go over to another video. Okay, so now let's go ahead and just pay this off in $10,000 chunks. So give me 1 second, okay? Okay, all right, so here we go. We have a velocity banking calculator, okay? And so what we can do is we could just type in the information and it'll give us a payoff date without having to do the work. So anytime you have a really big loan and you want to figure out the payoff date by doing what we call chunking right here, or incremental payoff, uh, we can certainly just put in that information here. And because I don't want to do the hard work, this calculator will do it for me. So I'm actually gotten this calculator for Renatus because it's where I first learned velocity banking from. And I'm a Renatus student. And I'm also an independent contractor marketer, meaning if I sell you some of their products, I get a commission, right? So just kind of like me selling some insurance. I also sell educational products, although I don't sell insurance. That's just an example. Now, here's the thing. You just put in the information and then you're good to go. So at this time, at 38 months, right, what's the balance of the student loan? So let's figure that out. Okay, so 225, 6.5, 10 years. So that's going to be 38 months. And that'll be 168K. And all right. So now 168, okay? And this is going to be 225,000. So 225,000. What's the interest rate? It is 6.5, 10-year term, and the payment is 2554.83. 2554, 2554.83. Okay? All right, so let's make sure this is calculated correctly. So it's everything except for the loan we're trying to pay off. So the expenses are actually these two. Okay? So it's, what's that, 3691.1? So 3691.1. So 3691.1. Okay. All right. So now, how long does this take to pay off this loan? About 2.5 years. Okay. 2.5 years. All right. So now, so 38, so what's 2.5 years divided by 12? So equals 2.5 divided by 12. Oh, I'm saying I got to multiply by 12 to find out the number of months. So that'll be 30 months. So now to pay this off, this is going to be 68 months. Okay. So now 225 plus 126. Let me just do a quick calculation what that is. So 225 plus 126. That's 351K. Oh my goodness, 351K in 68 months. Okay. And then now the last one we tackle is the mortgage. Okay. So what we do is just transfer $10,000 chunks from the mortgage balance to the line of credit, and we just pay it off. And then let's see how long that takes. Okay. And now at this point, later cash flow. So this is going to be easy peasy with nothing to really think about. But let's just kind of do this. So it'd be 10,000, 10%, and then 1191.1. So let's just do this. 200. We don't know the current balance yet. 6%, 30 years, and then 1191.1. Okay. And our new living expenses is just simply the 2,500 because we paid off the other loan and we include everything except for the loan we're trying to pay off. And what's the current balance right now at? So we're going to be 200,000 at 30 years at 6.5%. No, 6%. My bad. Okay. And now let's see where we're at. So at 68 months, what's the balance of the loan? 68 months. 183. Okay. And actually, let's put that here as well. Right. So 183, and I think everything's correct. And so now it's going to take us 2.3 years, right? So let me just erase these. So 2.3 years. So 2.3 times 12. That's 27.6 plus 68. So that'll be plus 68. So 95.6. So what's 95.6 months divided by 12? That's about 8 years. So, no, not 8 years. Oh, wait, is it 8 years? Yeah, it's almost 8 years. We'll just say 8 years. So 8 years, 551K debt free. Boom. Again, I don't know if this is a real scenario for doctors because I don't know any doctors, but the thing is that I have plenty enough of you who email me saying I make 10, 11, 6, 7 grand a month net and I'm broke, right? If you're above the 6 grand a month net pay figure, that means you make over 6 figures, right? And so if you're making 10 grand a month net, that's really good salary. You see what I'm saying? Like, so let's see how much real cash flow that we have that we're able to put in our savings. 7,500 a month. So this is now actually going to go to our savings, 700, and then next month will be 15 grand. And now you'll be flowing with cash without even having to invest just because your debt is paid off. Right? Now you can actually go on vacations without really doing much and just kind of hanging out. And this next month will be 22,500. Geez, I need to be a doctor, but not a broke doctor. You know what I'm saying? All right, well, that's it for today. Have a great day, and we will speak next time. Also, if you're interested in joining our group, learning about real estate investing, financial literacy, go ahead and click the Google form link below. Other than that, have a great day. Speak next time.